You're listening to the Sticks in the Six podcast. Here are your co-hosts, Andrew Forbes, Peter Barricini, and Alex Hobson.
Well, good evening, folks. And as you can see, just myself, Andrew Forbes, here tonight, doing a quick shifts episode. We haven't done one of these in a while. It's usually just me that jumps on. I talk about whatever I, need to talk about the hockey world and what's going on with our Maple Leafs. Obviously, anybody that wants to tune in, I appreciate it. But yeah, we're here, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network and DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code THPN to get promotions when you sign up with DraftKings Sportsbook. Just a quick post-game show. I wanted to jump on and just discuss, the Leafs play as of late, the consistency or the lack thereof, their play against the Sens tonight, and what should have been a win against a relatively tough Sens team turned into a debacle that could see a suspension come from it. Any of you that didn't catch the game, you got to go back and check out the last 5 seconds. Sheldon Keefe putting Ryan Reeves in the fourth line out, Bobby McMahon, and just to try and stir the pot, I guess, little Bob Hartley, John Tortorella reminiscent of that, trying to get something going at the tail end of that one. But before we get going, if anybody does have questions, if you're tuning in and do have questions, you can shoot something on the comments, either on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. We get all those. I can answer them. I can talk about them. We can discuss anything you want to discuss. I'm hoping to make this a quick one for you, so you don't have to sit here and listen to me just babble on about the Maple Leafs for too long. I needed a little cool down after the game, so put my son to bed. Didn't go out and cross-check any Sens fans in the side of the head like Morgan Rielly, but I definitely felt like it. I felt like that last play by Ridley Grigg kind of got me all wound up. And if I have to say, if I was on the ice, I probably would have done the same damn thing that Morgan Rielly did. But for those that missed the game, Leafs lost 5-3 with an empty netter. The empty netter was what kind of turned the table at the end of the game there. Goals by Austin Matthews, Matthew Nyes, and Max Domi. Max Domi also had a goal called back earlier in the game because of offside. Still a rule I think we need to, kind of look at if it doesn't affect the actual play itself. If it's a missed call, it's a missed call. Human error. That's part of the game. That's part of the game. But, you're listening to, I guess, what you can call a bit of a homer here, talking about his beloved Maple Leafs and, yet another loss. First things first, Ottawa right now is a non-playoff team. The Maple Leafs seem to have trouble against non-playoff teams and teams that they need to get it done against. This is a divisional game, 2 big points. You heard, if you tune into our show on a weekly basis, you heard me last week or earlier this week with Peter and Alex talking about if the Leafs make the playoffs. And I know that's a big if, but it's also, it's a question mark because this team has not played well. They do not look well. And there's a likelihood that they're going to be missing their defensive stalwart for at least a couple games coming up here. So with that said, I do want to say there were some good aspects to the game tonight as well. It was good to see Matthew Nyes get the monkey off his back. It was good to see, Max Domi get the monkey off his back. Of course, just as I start writing a piece on the need for depth scoring and Brad Treliving needing to go out and get it. But it's along with that, the line of Domi, Gregor, and Robertson looked fantastic tonight. They made some good plays. They had some good quality offensive zone time. The speed is just there for them. I think that works well. It works in their favor. I really liked what I saw from that line tonight. Martin Jones what can you say? He's not a starting goalie in the NHL. He wasn't in Seattle, even though he posted 28 wins. He wasn't a starting goalie by any means. You look at his numbers, his save percentage was below 9. His goals against was, teetering around 3. He's not a starting goalie. We're trying to fix our issues with Band-Aids, and it's showing. Samsonov's played well lately. I know you had to go to Martin Jones to kind of break it up, but yeah, it wasn't a pretty game for him. Obviously Austin Matthews scored his 42nd goal, another beautiful pass from Mitch Marner, another beautiful shot from Matthews himself. 42 goals. It seems like Sam Reinhart scores for Florida, and right away Matthews answers. So that's going to be a tight Rocket Richard race as that one continues to go. Aside from that, there's not much I really want to touch on during the game. I guess, for those who watched it, it was a typical Leaf game. You get some opportunities, you go up, and then you give up that lead, and you're fighting to get back. Jumping back to Robertson, Gregor, and Domi for a second, they accounted for 7 of the 34 Leaf shots. The Leafs outshot Ottawa 34-32. The last thing I want to say before we get to the Morgan Rielly stuff is the call late on Benoit, the trip that he got called for on Tim Stützle. Anybody aside from Ottawa Senators fans know, let's call it the history or the perception that's put on Tim Stützle, and that's that he tends to embellish a little bit. I'm not saying it was embellishment. The stick was between his legs. That said, that late in the game, momentum's flying for Toronto. It's a momentum breaker, and I think you saw Sheldon Keefe frustrated. You saw him yelling at the refs, and I think it was a bit of a bullshit call. That said, I think you all you want is consistency. It's got to go both ways, and for all the people out there, all the Leaf haters, and there's a lot of Leaf haters that say the Leafs get calls. I beg you to reconsider that opinion. I beg you to go back, watch all the film from this season, and tell me that the Leafs are getting the calls. I just think you're going to have a different opinion when you look at it from an unbiased perspective. That said, biggest call tonight. Ridley Greig got a breakaway on an empty net, decided to take a slap shot from inside the hash marks. So we're talking 6 feet out from the net. When you're a non-playoff team, when you're a rookie, when your team is performing as bad as it is throughout the season, I get that it's a rivalry game. I get that you're trying to make some kind of fucking statement where, I'm going to slap this into the empty net. What would have been golden is if he would have missed that shot, but everyone's begging for more emotion from Morgan Rielly. And tonight you got that after that Greg showboating bullshit. The biggest thing I want to say is act like you've been there. I think that's the conversation that everybody says, when you're a professional, you act like you've been there. I don't think there's any hesitation on anyone's part to say that within the Sens organization, the last, let's say 3 to 4 years, there's been very little professionalism when it comes to the young players. We talk about the Batherson quote in the preseason following the 2018 investigation. Alex Formenton, we won't even get into that conversation tonight. Shane Pinto and his 41-game suspension, and now Ridley Greig just with some on-ice antics. I have no issue with Morgan Rielly going over there and giving him a cross-check. It did slide up his shoulder. It did make contact with his head. They called it a 5-minute major. He's likely going to get suspended, and we're probably talking about, I would say he's a first-time offender. I would say you're looking about 2 games. Some people are saying 5. Kelly Rudy was saying 5 on Sportsnet. I just don't. I don't think that's realistic. Just based on it was a reaction to showboating. You could have given Ridley Greig a misconduct for unsportsmanlike. You see it in the NBA when they hang on the rim. It's unsportsmanlike. You could technically do that if you want to go tit for tat, but at the end of the day, I think the Leafs are going to be without Rielly for at least a couple games, and I mean, I wouldn't put it past George Peros to give him fucking 5 games. That's just the way George Peros is. He's the most inconsistent piece of shit that's ever worked inside the Department of Player Safety. So I don't know what's going on there. At the same time, I hope it's only 2 games. I hope it's 1 game. To understand the emotion of the on ice, what was going on the ice and the wires crossing, I think you got to look at it and just give him the benefit of the doubt, and that he wasn't looking to cross-check him in the head. That's just not Morgan Rielly. I think if you know the player, you know that he's not that kind of guy. But anyways, that was it for the game. Unfortunate 5-3 loss. Leafs lose out on another big 2 points. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to watch sometimes. I don't know if I was more stressed about that or my my over under on the Indiana Pacers game, because they were making me sweat right down to the end. Again, check out DraftKings, code THPN if you're gonna check out DraftKings. And in fact, let's throw a little quick ad read in here for you guys from the folks at DraftKings. Looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet on the big game and turn $5 into 200 instantly in bonus bets. We talked about it on our weekly episode that there are props bets for Swifties. Anti-hero Brock Purdy, 200 yards, 2 TDs, pays big, plus 300. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can bet $5 to get 200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58 with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. So anyways, folks, that's it for the Leaf game tonight. Tough loss. Leafs are back at home on the 13th. So that would be Wednesday. A lot of Wednesday games. Sorry, Tuesday night, February 13th against the St. Louis Blues. Another team that has struggled this year. They're sitting at 27-21-2. Leafs now 26-16-8. And definitely will be looking to rebound from this tough one against the Ottawa Senators. Right now, sitting with 60 points, 4th in the Atlantic behind Tampa, Florida, and the Boston Bruins through 50 games. So a lot of work to do for the Toronto Maple Leafs if they want to be playoff ready. But I have faith. Leafs Nation, have faith. The trade deadline's coming. There's moves that are going to be made. Depth scoring should be addressed. Let's hope. Otherwise, make sure you continue to tune in to the Sticks in the Six podcast. Shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network for having us on their network. Make sure you follow us down at the bottom there, all of the socials, as well as make sure you subscribe on YouTube. The more subscriptions, the more help we get. Hit us up on TikTok. We got some big things happening. Hopefully when we hit 1,000 followers on TikTok, we can do some lives, maybe do some giveaways. We'll see what we got going there, but make sure you hit us up. Otherwise, folks, thanks for tuning in tonight for our first ever post-game quick shifts. I appreciate it, and hopefully I didn't bore you with the recap. Until next time, I'm Andrew Forbes here at Sticks and Six.